Hey Dark Souls fans, Giaquinto back with another episode of Essential Things and Where to Find Them. Thank you so much for your support on episode 1. We've reached 4K views so far, which is awesome. In episode 2, our main feature is going to be the armor set for Knight Artorias of Dark Souls 1. They changed the name around for this one. It's located in the Untended Graves area. It's called the Wolf's Knight set, and I'm going to be showing you guys where to grab that, along with the Chaos Blade, 2 Titanite Chunks, 2 Titanite Scales, an item that you can trade to the Crone Firelink Shrine for a slab. We have a lot of stuff here. So when you defeat the main story Dark Souls 3 boss, Dancer of the Boreal Valley, from his bonfire you're going to proceed up a ladder to Lothric Castle. As soon as you go up that ladder, you're going to make a left out to an alternate area that isn't mandatory called Consume King's Garden. Now let me quickly say this video may contain some spoilers, so if I'm going to be spoiling anything for you, if you feel that way, watch this video at a later time. So once you defeat the only boss in the Consume King's Garden, you'll unlock the only bonfire for the location. Proceed down the steps into what seems like a tomb. You'll duel off against a fairly easy lizard dragon enemy. Now he is guarding a gesture which is completely linked to one another. The enemy definitely links to the gesture there, because that gesture you can take to the Ethereal Dungeons, and that will unlock a new hidden area for you, if you know where to bring that. I may cover that in a later video. So from behind the chest that contains the scale, you proceed down into the Untended Graves. Sit at the bonfire here for the checkpoint and then proceed further. You're going to pick up this item ahead, and then you can go either right or left. Let's look at what's on the left side, because I feel like, being that that's a dead end, it's only logical to go that way first. You're going to come across 4 crow ghouls. Now take out the first 2 in front of you, and then pull the third one out, because the third one to the left of the mage, which would be the 4th one that you're going to kill in the chronological order, he's pretty aggro, so pulling him back makes things really easy. I don't want to see you guys lose any embers or souls. Kill him and then proceed to kill the witch mage, who is fairly easy. You'll pick up the Ashen Estus ring, which will give you increased Ashen Estus flask efficiency. So on the opposite side, the way we haven't looked yet, I want to highlight this enemy really quick, because this enemy is completely grindable for Titanite, large Titanite shards, which you can use to upgrade your weapons to, I believe, +6 or 7. From there you'll need Titanite Chunks to proceed further. In this location there's actually 2, which I said earlier I'll be covering. The first is on this right side here, which is sitting right next to a potential ambush from those little dogs. 3 of them are sitting there. On the opposite side we have another Titanite Chunk guarded by another potential ambush dog. Picking up those 2, we can then proceed to something that is completely optional. And this area may be of interest to you if you're somebody who uses Dark Souls 3 boss weapons. I know that may not be everyone, and whether you know it or not, when you defeat a boss, instead of using the souls, you can trade the boss souls in to an NPC at Firelink Shrine, and you can pick up boss weapons, spells, etc, etc. But the boss weapons are upgraded through a special stone called Titanite Scale, which are dropped by FromSoft's way of trolling us by creating giant overgrown versions of the baby lizards that drop twinkling Titanite. By sticking to the left of these guys, that'll make the fight fairly easy, because you dodge most of their basic attacks. Rolling into their major attacks, rolling into their bodies will serve as, you know, a reliable version of dodging anything else. These guys are completely parryable. Just keep swinging at them like you saw me do there on their left side, and that'll open up a parry from the head. So just jump in front of them, press R1, and that should one-shot them, at least on the first playthrough. So at this point there's only one more route to go, and if you walk up this way embered, you'll initiate a fight with the Dark Spirit. Now she does not drop anything, at least for this first playthrough. I'm hoping that when I come back here next playthrough, she'll have a little more incentive, you know, definitely make it worth killing. So your first playthrough, you don't even have to walk up that way embered. A little further after her, you'll see that that was the boss room for the boss fight of Untended Graves, which again, I'm not going to spoil here. Now this entire area, this leads to Firelink Shrine, as you can see. I think that Untended Graves is the real version of what Firelink Shrine is supposed to be. I think that Firelink Shrine is an illusion, and that's all completely lore related. I think that's casted out by a boss. They did this in Bloodborne. Hunter's Dream wasn't a real area, but you could find a hidden area that was the real Hunter's Dream. This is some real Kingdom Hearts Japanese lore talk. Just some real head confusion. But from the left of the Firelink Shrine entrance, you can see that the Chaos Blade is waiting for you. And going inside Firelink Shrine, you have a set of steps to the right that leads up to something. And dropping down here, we have a item that you can trade to the Crow at Firelink, the actual Firelink Shrine, for a Titanite Scale. The Coiled Sword Fragment, which doesn't have... It's not an essential item because you can buy Homeward Bones fairly cheap. You can farm souls and pick up like 300 for a good price. And then you have the Blacksmith Hammer, which is a little further from that Coiled Sword Fragment. That fragment, again, you know, it's giving you the unlimited teleports, but again, you know, it's not a priority. So, the steps that lead up that I had just mentioned before leads to a tree. The same tree from Firelink that didn't have much use previously. When you examine it down here, the actual tree, it's giving you a seed of a giant tree, which enemies react to invaders. So when you have an invader in your world, let's say you're a casual who doesn't like to PvP, you can use this on them. You know, let's say you're trying to get to a boss door and you have a lot of souls on you, you don't want to fight. That's a nice way to help you in that situation if you don't have White Phantoms. Now if you go down those steps, you'll see that there's an illusionary wall here that leads to the eyes of a Firekeeper. This I will not spoil, but I will say, give it to your Firekeeper or don't. I did not. Depending on what you do, it will reflect the ending in your story, that's all I'll say. And the final item for this area, the armor set of Artorias.
Well, fancy that. A lost lamb wandereth in, with nary a peep from the bell. Well, thou shouldst my purpose know. What can this old handmaid provide thee?
So just further backing on my theory that Untended Graves is the real version of the Firelink Shrine illusion, because the Shrine handmaid down here is, you can clearly see that she's the same exact person and she has no idea who you are. So just some more food for thought. Also, just a quick mention on Andre Vestora's hammer, which is there, but he's not present. You know, it makes sense. I didn't think that Andre could live after all this time. And, you know, it just further proves that Firelink Shrine may indeed be an illusion. Now, as you can see, she sells the armor set of Artorias and a few other useful items as well. Repair powders if you're low, Homeward Bones, which again, these are all unlimited, Embers, and she sells you the Priestess ring, which, god, it is so awesome. Especially if you run faith buffs on your plain weapon or, you know, special weapon, you know, enchants like Dark Moon Blade, it is a must-have. You know, must-have run on your build. So that is the end of episode 2. I'm officially out of breath. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you come episode 3. Have a good night.